Assalamualaikum and good day, Dr. Nas. We will be presenting our case study entitled Pankaj Ramesh Kumar versus Petronas Digital Berhad. This case was decided by the Industrial Court of Malaysia and involved a workplace conflict concerning the non-confirmation and subsequent termination of a probationary employee. Before we begin, let us introduce our group members. I am Siti Saleha and together with me, Sharifah Shakira Al-Hadi, Nur Idayu, Nurul Elisha and Nurul Salina. Firstly, workplace conflict refers to disagreements that arise among individuals or groups within an organization due to difference in goal, perspective or interest. Effective conflict management is important to maintain harmonious employment relationships and organizational effectiveness. In this case study, we examine a real-world workplace conflict involving Pankaj Ramesh Kumar and Petronas Digital Berhad using secondary data obtained from the Industry Court of Malaysia. This case highlights issues relating to performance management, employee grievances, and employment relationships. Petronas Digital Berhad is the digital arm and a subsidiary of Petronas, which provide digital and technology-related solutions to support the organization operations. The claimant, Pankaj Ramesh Kumar, joined the company as an executive in product ecosystem under a 6-month probationary period. Due to performance concern, his probation was extended for another 3 months. However, the company later decided not to confirm his employment. The conflict arose when the claimant alleged that he had been unfairly treated and victimized by his immediate superior. In contrast, Petronas Digital maintained that the claimant had failed to meet the required performance standards and competencies. As the dispute could not be resolved internally, the matter was eventually referred to the Industrial Court of Malaysia for determination.
Next, I will explain the parties involved in this conflict. The primary parties were Mr. Pankaj, who was the employee, and Petronas Digital Berhad, which was the employer. Besides the main parties, there were also several secondary parties involved. This included his immediate superior Muhammad Hisham, the Human Resources Department, internal stakeholders, and the external vendor Ventif. Although they were not directly involved in the dispute, these parties influence in the situations and contribute to the development of the conflict. Now, let's look at the position and underlying interests of both parties. From Pankaj's perspective, he believed that he was treated unfairly and claimed that he experienced victimization. His main concerns were career development, professional recognition, and job security. On the other hand, Petronas Digital believed that Pankaj did not meet the required performance expectations. Therefore, the company focused on ensuring project success, maintaining organizational performance, and protecting business interests. Even though both parties had different positions, they actually wanted positive outcomes. However, differences in expectations, communications, and perceptions eventually caused the conflict to become more serious.
Now we move to the conflict management strategies. Management at Petronas Digital adopted a systematic approach. They relied on continuous performance monitoring. They formalized the evaluation through clear and objective deliverables. To support the employee, they utilize weekly check-ins. They provide frequent feedback through digital platforms. When the dispute intensified, they transitioned to a formal grievance process. This was overseen by the General Manager of Industrial Relations. This ensured the review was independent and objective. Next, we evaluate these strategies. We see a clear attempt at de-escalation through procedural justice. The company provided an extended probationary period. They also provided structured opportunities for improvement. The company acted in good faith to resolve the performance gap. However, the conflict still escalated. The claimant perceived these managerial actions as victimization. This led to a legal challenge. Ultimately, the industrial court found that the management's strategies were bona fide. Their approach was legitimate and fair. They effectively de-escalated the potential for an unfair dismissal claim. They did this by maintaining meticulous documentation and providing due process.
For analysis based on conflict management tools, I will analyze this case using the Thomas Kilman Conflict Mode Instrument or TKI. Based on the facts of the case, the conflict can be categorized as a dominating style. As shown on the slide, this slide is categorized by high assertiveness and low cooperativeness. Both parties focus on protecting their own interests rather than seeking collaborative solution. Petronas Digital relied on managerial authority and organizational policies, while the employees pursue legal action to defend his employment rights. As a result, the conflict had several negative impacts. There was a breakdown of the trust, communication became more difficult, and the dispute eventually escalated to industrial court proceedings. Therefore, a more suitable approach would have been integrating style. This approach emphasized open communication, joint problem solving, and mutual understanding, allowing both parties to work towards a solution that addressed both organizational and employee concern. Next slides, we will discuss about the alternative approach. If I were the HR manager, I will recommend for this four alternative approach. First, yearly workplace mediation. HR should action as a natural facilitator and provide a safe environment for both parties to discuss their concern and resolve misunderstanding before the conflict becomes more serious. Second, structure consultation. Regular communication between employees and management helps improve transparency and allow concern to be addressed at earlier stage. Third, fair investigation process. HR has an ethical responsibility to ensure that investigations are conducted fairly and that employees are given the opportunity to present their perspective before decisions are made. Fourth, a stronger grievance system. An effective grievance mechanism enables employees to raise concern through formal channels and help prevent dispute from escalating into the legal cases. As shown in the expected outcomes, this approach can improve trust, strengthen employee relations, and reduce workplace dispute while supporting long-term organizational effectiveness.
Next, I will discuss about the ethical responsibility of HR manager in this case. HR managers are responsible for ensuring the employment decisions are made fairly, transparently, and based on objective evidence. In this case, HR had to balance the interests of Petronas Digital while also protecting the employees' rights. The claimant was given several opportunities to improve his performance, including an extended probation period, regular performance review, and grievance session. This action showed that HR attempt to provide a fair process before making the final decision. HR professionals should ensure that employment decisions are made consistently, objectively, and without discrimination. Therefore, HR manager must avoid personal bias, provide constructive feedback, and clearly communicate performance expectations to employees. For future improvement, there are several recommendations. Firstly, the company should improve its performance management process by documenting feedback and improvement plan more clearly. This can help reduce misunderstanding between employees and supervisors. Secondly, HR should introduce mediation at an earlier stage when conflict arises. Early intervention can improve communication and prevent issues from escalating. The organization should also provide leadership and conflict management training for managers so that they can handle performance-related issues more effectively. In addition, HR should regularly monitor employee well-being and perception of fairness in the workplace. In conclusion, we can conclude, although the claimant believed that the decision was unfair, the industrial court found that the company had provided sufficient opportunity for improvement and act in good faith. This case highlights the importance of effective communication, fair performance management, and ethical HR practice in maintaining positive employee relations. That's all from our group. Thank you.